For more on this, we now speak to Home Affairs Minister Dr. Motsoaledi, and he joins us via our video link. Minister, thank you so much for joining us this evening here on SABC News. Let's start off here. Why do we continue to see this problem where children are not registered at birth?
Good evening, Bali. Good evening to the listeners and viewers up there. What is your question? Why did we what?
Why do we continue to see this problem where some children are not registered at birth?
I think it's a mixture of lots of things, including social problems and economic factors. The reason that we started the process of opening Home Affairs offices in hospitals was to try and relieve that type of problem. Unfortunately, we started only in 2020. To open Home Affairs offices in hospitals. And we were overtaken by COVID. We had to suspend, hoping that if we do that, fewer and fewer children will take their birth certificate only 30 days after birth. The general rule is that it must happen within the first 30 days. But even in some hospitals in Bali, there are areas where a mother, when we arrive in the hospital to ask for an office, we actually negotiate for a room opposite the labor ward, opposite the maternity room. So when the mother comes out with the baby, she can see it's written there, Home Affairs. But even with that, there are mothers who just pass the office. And when they are asked, they said, no, I'm still going home to negotiate. We're still going to slaughter a goat and maybe the child and all that. Those are some of our cultures and social problems. And that's what makes them delay.
And Minister, I was coming to that exactly because I've heard of cultural practices that needs to take place. What role does that have when it comes to ensuring that kids are registered? You would even hear some families saying that, well, we still need to be told by our ancestors, what names we should give children.
Yes, precisely. Those are some of the social factors that affect us. Take, for instance, the birth certificate. We used to give an abridged birth certificate, which is a summarized birth certificate, because it usually doesn't have the name of the father, only the mother. Whereas a full birth certificate must have the mother, the father, and the child. I've gone to hospitals in Bali where we're going to issue the birth certificate, and many young girls, those who suffered mostly teenage pregnancy, when you look at their birth certificate, there is a gap there. There's no father, obviously. And when you ask them exactly who the father is, you could see from their gesture that is something embarrassing, because they laugh at you, nervously. And we leave them, and they are going to have a very clear social problem, which doesn't only need the Home Affairs, it needs the whole of society.
Is there enough awareness being done, especially in our communities and rural areas, to educate people on the importance of why these births need to be registered from the onset before you even leave a hospital?
Part of my journey, like today when I went to Kabeja, it was to do that. What I do with the trucks, they spend the week there, they don't go for one day. All the trucks, and we have got 12 of them now, in all the townships of Kabeja, they are going to stay there for a week. In the meantime, I bring stakeholders. Stakeholders here are ward councillors, ministers of religion, traditional leaders, and all the other leaders in various sectors. They are the ones who I workshop, so that when I'm gone, they are able to teach the people, because I cannot run this campaign alone, but also because when we are gone, when people in local areas experience problems, they will go to the local religious leader, they will go to the traditional leader, they will go to a ward councillor, they will go to a social worker. So my job, like what I did today, was address the stakeholders and teach them what happens when you don't take your birth certificate within the first 30 days of birth. And so they start realizing, because many of them thought it doesn't matter, you can just wait. Whenever you are ready, you go to take the birth certificate. I gave them example about our best in Bali. I'm sure you are aware. He's one of the most known people who went up to the age of 36 or 37 without having any birth certificate whatsoever. We had to start with the late registration of birth. In his case, he was also lucky, and I give them that example because the mother still remembered the date and the place where he was born, which happened to be Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital in June of 1986. Home Affairs officials had to go there to work for 5 hours in the archives, looking for those documents. They found them, and then from there, she referred us to a school where Thabo Bester was, and the principal opened the records and found that, indeed, he came to register there in 1997. So it was easy to collect all those documents. And after collecting them back, no Home Affairs official alone can still give you an ID. We put up what we call a tribunal. A tribunal is a group of experienced Home Affairs senior officials who then sit, look at the papers you have harvested, you have been collecting around, look at them if they make sense, and then declare that you can take an ID, a birth certificate. We, after collecting all these documents from Thabo Bester, we put together a tribunal and they passed it. We had to send a Home Affairs truck, the trucks we are showing on the screen there. We have to send one of them to Hoshimamburu prison for him to take a birth certificate and an ID, because nobody can ever get an ID without first having a birth certificate. So those are the things I'm educating stakeholders about, and the stakeholders will go around educating the communities.
And if children are born to foreign nationals, Minister, what is the process that is followed to ensure that their births are also recorded?
We give them what we call a record of birth. There is a law from some NGOs that you must give them a birth certificate. And I'll tell you why we can't do that. But we've even explained that to the United Nations. The birth certificate in South Africa is called South African ID, which means it is citizenship. Now you can imagine a mother who crosses Limpopo River to come to Musina Hospital just to give birth, because there are no facilities where she is in Zimbabwe. She comes and gives birth. And on that very same day, she earns citizenship. Can you imagine what will that do to the country? If you go to Maseru Bridge, there is a lane that is painted green. There are kids who attend school in South Africa, in Lady Brand, but stay in Maseru because they are Basutus. So they pass there. Not only them, even pregnant mothers, they go for antenatal care in Lady Brand Hospital and come back to Maseru and sleep there and go back again. And then one birth certificate which suddenly is citizenship, the whole Lesotho will be empty, or the whole African countries will be emptied and everybody gets citizenship of South Africa. I don't think that is practical. So what we do, we give them a record of birth. A record of birth is a document that shows everything that the birth certificate shows, that indicates everything that the birth certificate indicates, except that it does not have South African ID number. And we expect the people to take that record of birth, go to their embassy, because they still know the countries they come from, and get the correct documentation. In this case, only Botswana was fair to us. The minister came to me and said, Minister Motsoaledi, all the middle-aged Botswana, not middle-aged, middle class, in terms of economic class, middle class Botswana, when they are pregnant, they use South African private hospitals. That's where they come to deliver their babies. And she clearly said, they are not coming there to look for birth certificates or citizenship of South Africa. They are just using your private health facilities because they are world class. And thereafter, they must come back to Botswana. You must give them a record that will show everything, so that we give them proper documentation. And that's exactly what we do in Bali.
All right, Minister, thank you so much for your time.